Hello everyone, and happy Super Bowl Sunday. Here is your Advective weather update for February 12th, 2023. Let's get right into it. We have a lot to talk about with a triple threat from this system. We have winter weather, severe weather, and flooding, all being concerns with the system that's going to be moving through the United States. You can see there we start with snow in the four corners as a low pressure system develops. That snow then impacts the northern Midwestern United States as a severe weather event impacts the southern plains, stretching all the way from Dixie Alley to the Great Lakes, and there will be a lot of rainfall with that, resulting in a potential flood threat. Let's talk about current conditions right now. A low pressure system is currently moving off of the east coast of the United States, currently the center of that over South Carolina. You'll notice there are winter weather alerts in place for North Carolina as a significant snow event is occurring there. And then you'll also notice that we do have a low pressure system spiraling there south of California. You'll also notice numerous winter weather alerts going up around the Four Corners region, stretching all the way into Kansas. And then you'll also notice there winter weather alerts along the Pacific Northwest coast and parts of Montana as well. Alright, this video is going to be split into two chapters, a winter weather and severe weather chapter. The timestamps will be in the description for your convenience. The winter weather chapter starts now. Key messages for February 14th through 17th are as follows. Significant snowfall is likely to stretch all the way from the southern Rockies through the Great Lakes. You can see here on the graphics where it's expected to be and where the highest confidence is for significant snowfall. A winter storm is likely going to develop Tuesday heading into Wednesday and then is going to move off and could potentially last all the way through Friday. This system does not have the highest confidence in the world when it comes to potential track, snow accumulations, and the places that will be hardest hit. But we do have high confidence that a winter storm will occur and will produce hazardous winter weather conditions, especially in terms of travel. All right, let's take a look at the official forecast. You can see here rather clearly that major area that's in red. Those are the areas that are going to have the most disruptions to daily life. The areas in orange are in a moderate risk, which is about the same in terms of impacts. It's a little lower. Moderate is about what you see with a run-of-the-mill winter storm. And when it comes to major impacts, that means, okay, you're a bit higher. You need to take that really seriously. Either way, you need to be taking things seriously if you're even in the minor impacts, is that snow could still cause some hazardous travel. So be weather aware over the next few days if in the Four Corners region or along the Pacific Northwest coastline when it does come to snowfall. And then, of course, the northern Midwest, while you're not in the risk region right now for the next 3 days, once we do get within range of day 4 and 5, that will change rather drastically. You'll see that in future videos. So you guys in the northern Midwest also need to be keeping an eye on this. Let's take a look at a weather model output. This is through the next 5 days or so, ending on February 17th at 6 p.m. Central Time. Here are the expected snow accumulations from the National Weather Service blend of models. You can see along the Four Corners region there, well over a foot in some spots, some places getting isolated regions of over 2 feet on the peaks of some mountains, with then 1 to 3 inches stretching well across parts of Kansas, all the way through Iowa, Wisconsin, and 3 to 6 over a large part of the state as well in this model, although that's subject to change, so I'm not going to promise anything over 1 to 3 right now for most of those regions, and that might even be a bit aggressive, as again, there's a lot of uncertainty. Some region is going to get that 3 to 6 band, it's just a matter of which one. Then you can see along the Pacific Northwest coastline, we also have significant snowfall occurring there, with well over 2 feet of snow possible on some mountainous peaks, and then you can see there in Canada lots of snow falling as well. All right, so what can you do? If you're caught outdoors in a winter storm, first things first, you need to find shelter, cover exposed body parts, melt snow for drinking water, and exercise. Those are the major things. So you want to get inside, but if you can't do that, you want to cover exposed body parts because that protects you from hypothermia and frostbite. Melting snow is good because if you don't melt your snow for drinking water, you'll lower your body temperature, and again, that can cause hypothermia. And finally, exercise and keeping yourself moving. That keeps you warm as well. All right, well, the winter weather chapter is over. Now we're in the severe weather chapter. You can see here rather clearly that a slight risk of severe weather, that's a 15% chance of severe weather within 50 miles of a point, that is currently in place across parts of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas for day 4. And then you can see there a very large region for day 5, Mississippi, Alabama, the Gulf Coast mostly, along those states, as well as chunks of Florida and Louisiana, and that stretches all the way up to the Great Lakes. That's the overview. Let's get into more detail now. You can see here for day 4, places in Arkansas like Jonesboro, Little Rock, Arkadelphia, all within that risk. Fayetteville not within the risk. You should still be keeping an eye on things, though. In Oklahoma, places like Durant and Hugo within the risk. The Dallas-Fort Worth Metro within the risk. That's been introduced rather recently. Tyler, Texas, also within the risk. They got hit by a tornado relatively recently. You guys still need to be watching out. Shreveport, Natchitoches, Monroe, Bastrop, all within a severe weather risk. Alexandria, you are just on the edge. You still need to be watching out. And then Oxford, Cleveland, areas like that in Mississippi, also within that slight risk. Jackson not within it. Tupelo not within it. You still need to be watching out, and you're in the day 5 risk. And then Memphis, Tennessee, also in that day 4 severe weather risk. As we head into day 5, this is for any severe hazard. You can see there that slight risk stretching all the way from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes. So places like Cleveland, Dayton, Columbus in Ohio, Cincinnati, all within that severe weather risk. Indianapolis, you're just outside of the severe weather risk. You still need to be watching things for day 5. If you are in Evansville, if you are in Bloomington, you need to be watching this as well. Places like Bowling Green and Lexington within the severe weather risk there for day 5. And then Nashville, Tennessee, also within the risk. Places like Tupelo, Jackson, Hattiesburg within the risk in Mississippi. Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Mobile, Montgomery within the risk. Huntsville as well. The entirety of the state of Alabama, in fact, within that slight risk. And then Atlanta there just within the slight risk. And Pensacola, Florida, also within that severe weather risk. So you need to be watching out. We'll have more details on all of this as the event draws closer, but for now we can only say you're in a risk. We don't have too much in terms of specifics just yet. How bad it will be, when it will arrive, and what hazards to look for. That will all become more clear with time, so stay tuned right here as we'll keep you up to date with daily videos on the situation. All right, here is a weather model depicting what's going on. This is from 6 a.m. on Wednesday through 6 a.m. on Friday. So you can see rather clearly there those storms as they move through. I'm going to let this loop finish and then we'll go through it again and I'll give some commentary over it, but I just want you to watch the general progression of the pattern. So here we are, the snow in the 4 corners, and you'll see our storms start to fire off there. That's around 6 p.m. And then those storms continue and remain and go rather far north heading into Thursday. And then we continue to see that severe weather threat lasting all the way through into the evening hours of Thursday before things do fizzle out heading into Friday. All right, let's take a look at the flooding threat here real quick. So this is for day 4. You can see there a marginal risk stretching through parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. This is a at least 5% chance of rainfall exceeding that flash flood guidance. But basically this means that there's an elevated risk, it's not huge, but an elevated risk of some flash flooding occurring within that marginal risk. That includes places like Jackson, Mississippi, Tupelo, Nashville, Memphis, Tennessee, places like Paducah, Kentucky, Evansville, and then as we move north there near Huntsville, Alabama as well. Heading into day 5, you can see there that slight risk corridor. That's the first thing that jumps out. You guys are in a pretty decent risk for flash flooding. Wouldn't be shocked to see that slight risk get bigger with time, but that's what we're looking at right now. And then the marginal risk surrounding that, it's also rather widespread, stretching all the way from the Gulf Coast to Ohio. So rather widespread there. Don't pay too much attention to the specifics just yet. We'll get more specifics as time moves closer. But as of now, you can see a general idea of a flooding threat that's going to overspread much of Dixie Alley. Finally, when it comes to the flood threat, I want to go over the precipitation forecast. You can see there's relatively high confidence in a corridor of 3 inches or more of rain falling in Tennessee and a rather widespread corridor of 1.5 or more inches of rain falling through northern Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, stretching all the way into Kentucky. And then, of course, over 1/2 inch there in the darker blue. That's rather widespread, stretching all the way from Louisiana up through Pennsylvania. All right, well, what can you do? First things first, we're far enough out, you can make a severe weather safety plan right now. You have 4 to 5 days to do it. Do not waste those days. Don't wait till the last minute. Go to ready.gov/make-a-plan if you don't have a plan already, so that way if severe weather does strike your home, you know what to do. And finally, let's talk about flash flood safety. Most of my audience, I think, knows severe weather safety fairly well. You guys have heard about that on this channel a lot. Flood safety doesn't get covered as much, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. When flooded, turn around, don't drown. Do not drive into water on flooded roadways. It only takes 6 inches of water to knock you off your feet. You want to get to higher ground if you're in a house. That's really important. You want to get out of areas that are subject to flooding, as in flash flooding that can happen very fast. And finally, you want to stay informed. Monitor your radar, television, weather radio, any sort of way that you can get the latest information on the weather so you know if you're safe or not. All right, well, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday tonight. Be sure to enjoy it responsibly, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video regarding this severe weather threat. You can also join our Discord server, as we'll be having community events coming up relatively soon, and we'll also be having some additional discussion on the upcoming weather system. Thanks again for watching. Like this video if you liked it. You know what to do if you didn't. And be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.